911 location of your emergency.
Breaking news out of North Idaho. Moscow police are investigating a homicide on King Road.
Is she breathing?
No.
So 5'10", all black. Could you see what color his eyebrows were or anything like that?
No, I don't remember what his eyes look like either.
Officers discovered the bodies of Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Maddie Mogen, and Kaylee Goncalves, but no weapon has been located at this time.
Arrested. That's 28-year-old Bryan Kohberger in custody today.
Kohberger allegedly stalked one of the victims. That's false.
We do not have evidence that the defendant had direct contact with 1122 or with residents of 1122, but we can put his phone in that area. There are many residences in that area. It's a dense population of mostly college-related occupants.
Hey guys, how's everyone doing? Oh my gosh. Let's see, make sure this is turned down. And it's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. I have to show you guys something. So, a while back, a viewer from overseas convinced me finally to give out the Channal P.O. box because she made me something. You guys. What she made me is cray cray. Everyone in the house is like, holy shit, all right. She hand crocheted me this shawl, but it's not just like any shawl, okay? I'm going to put it, like there's two like ridiculous details here. The entire shawl is made out of skull design. Can you see the skull? She crocheted skulls into it. Okay. And then on the ends, this is crazy. On the ends, it has little metal scullies on it. Look at this. It's got little metal scullies on it. This thing is so freaking cool. Oh my God. All she said is that if she forgot any of her hair on it when she rolled it off is to not leave it at a crime scene. Frame her. This thing is so freaking cool. And you know what else? She sent some snacks from the UK specifically so that my little 8-year-old Don can do a video because he has a little channel where he wants to do little videos, doing taste tests and doing things. So that's freaking cool as shit. This is crazy. This is from MDP, by the way. I don't know if she's in here. Yes, it is a skull shawl. I am like, oh my God. And then she has like fibromyalgia and she's doing this kind of stuff. So that's like incredibly touching that you would spend so much time doing something like this with that kind of thing. Like, seriously, guys, it's a skull. It's freaking skulls. It's freaking skulls. Oh my God. This is so cool. Okay. This is so cool. So when Don's little video is done, I'll show it to you. Well, I'll give y'all the link so y'all can go and y'all can look at that. Okay. This thing is like so warm. Like I'm going to try to wear it because I really want to wear it, but it's, oh my God, it's hot. Like it's perfect for wintertime because I can like, it's airy if I'm outside, but it's definitely some very, very thermal shawlness happening here. This thing is so freaking cool. Like I honestly can't get over like the skulls on here too. Like this is so badass, y'all. Like this is so freaking cool. I don't know. See, her little thing is like crocheted, I think like either hearts or flowers, like her emblem. So I don't know. Like if she has a business, yes, I will definitely give y'all all the info. I emailed her earlier. I don't know if she got my email. I know because she's overseas, it's on a different time zone, which is like the issue, right? Because she probably like I already emailed her, so I know she'll see the email, but it sucks that she's not in here. It sucks that she's not in here. Because I know I would have seen her pop up already. This thing is so freaking cool. This thing is so freaking cool. Okay. So you're probably like, because this one Ariel got me. for Christmas one year, either for Christmas or for my birthday. It was like one of the first holidays whenever we moved into the house. And now this one, like y'all are gonna see me wearing these all the time. Like this thing is crazy. Like I immediately brought it in there to my dad, and I was like, Dad, there's skulls in it. Like, this is so crazy. Yes, if she has one, I definitely will like let her know. Hey, some people want to like inquire about some things. This thing is like so nice. Oh my god! Like I'm actually kind of like scared to walk around with it because this kind of stuff can get snagged on stuff, and like I can't keep it here because the cats are always right here. So it's gonna have to just stay up in the closet until I wear it because the cats are gonna be all over it. Oh my god, it's so nice. Very talented. It's so nice. Oh my gosh. I love it. Okay. Thing number 2. Well, I guess thing number 2 would be ready for Don's little UK snack video because he's like so freaking uber excited, especially because she wrote in there like she sent them for him. He was like, oh my god. And he also is going to do, I think he's going to do the little Minion Wendy's meal review because one of you guys sent like some money to him on PayPal for him to do his next video. I don't know if she is okay with me like saying her name. See, I always got to be careful because I don't know if like people like their names out here, and I don't want to skip, anybody up by like saying their name. But she sent him like some money on PayPal for his little next video. So he's been wanting to do the Wendy's thing, and we went to go see Monsters and Minions today with Dad because he's leaving tomorrow to go check out an RV because he's supposed to be planting his ass in my backyard here in a few months. Finally retiring and coming over here and getting an RV and put his butt in my big old backyard. So he finally found one and he's going to go down to test drive it tomorrow. So we went today and went to see Minions and Monsters, and it was really cute. It was cute. You recognize the voices. The little green alien dude is definitely Cartman from South Park. It's interesting the voices that you pick up. Okay, so the next thing. The reason why the box from MDP took like an extra couple of days to get here than I thought that it would is because I sent this, it was sent to my the Channel PO box that I have for the Channel stuff. This light is like really, really bright. I'm going to turn it down as soon as we're done though, because y'all need to be able to like see everything that we're doing. So the reason why it took another couple of days is because they saw that I had something else coming in, which was Cyray's book. So they do like this consolidation shipping thing to where within 7 days, if something else is coming in, they wait to ship off so they can ship them all off at the same time. So these all came in today. Now this is in some sort of weird packaging. It's like actual like gift wrapping paper. So we're gonna open this together because I have not opened it. It is still in paper. And yeah, that's why we are hopefully, and if you're a member, then you saw the community post I posted late last night of my bulletin board where I created a schedule, not just for this channel, but for me to do at least like 3 things I'm hoping by Sunday on my second channel. The alien thing we're going to keep doing on Sunday, going over the files, but I also still want to go over the MK Ultra hearing. I think I have that scheduled for what day? Thursday, we're going to do the MK Ultra thing over on my second channel. I'm going to post something that I just found out about recently tomorrow. It's something about eggs. I think everybody probably should know about it, especially if you live in Texas or Arizona, because I honestly don't know yet. I might uncover more states in the effery. We shall see. But I'm hoping by Monday, I guess, with the way that I have things over here, Monday. No, it can't. We do Moscow Monday. I might have to move some stuff around. Because I have us doing chapter 12 tonight and then chapter 13 Thursday for the morning live. And then I don't have us doing chapter 14 until Saturday night, but I might move that and we might do that on Friday night so that we can do chapter 15 on Saturday night so that Tuesday morning we can start Cyray's book. Yes. So let's go ahead and take a look at this thing, and then I'm going to pop it open. See, what does this say? The end result can never justify the means. I think that's on the book somewhere. Yes, the price fixing. Like 3 major ass companies in Texas, and then I saw that there was also one in Arizona, and I'm just like, what is happening? You rude ass people. Like, we already have enough issues with the pricing of things. And then these companies came around in the egg industry and just acted like complete a-holes. I don't know what the hell. Okay, so there's like a little sticker. It's like wrapped up like a Christmas gift, which is kind of, you know, a little conceited, honestly. I ain't never bought a book that was gift wrapped in paper, you know. Kind of weird. And I'm not trying to keep these damn stickers, so them shits can just get torn up. I mean, I might keep some of it in order to fold it up and make it like a bookmark, but I don't really care if these stickers get ripped up. It definitely is some wrapping paper. This is cray cray. Oh my god. Okay. It's floppy, which I actually prefer. I don't really like hardcover books. If I can get a floppy book like this, I would prefer. Which, you know what? Let me throw an idea at you guys here in a second. If I can remember that I just said here in a second. After we're done looking at this book, I'm going to ask y'all a question if y'all think I should do something in particular. So it's pretty big. I mean, look, I got a big old head, but it's like twice the size of my head almost. Look, big old book. Big old book. Siree on the back. See if I can turn this down. Let me get closer. But yeah, it's textbook. Like a textbook. No, it's not. It was $100 and it only comes in soft cover. Oh yeah, ma'am. It was like $95, but the weird part is that it was a flat fee, no tax, no shipping from Arizona. Ain't never done that before either. That was kind of strange. Oh, I just saw the name O'Keefe, so he must talk about the Karen Reed case in here a little bit too. So, oh, it comes with one. That's actually kind of cool. I wasn't expecting a bookmark. $95, there better be something. This shit should be metal. Hot damn. How many pages is this damn thing? Readable pages is 545 pages. And it ends with something about Kohberger. I just saw his name right here on the second to last page. Well, that'll be interesting. But we're going to do it the same way that we're doing, you know, this book. This poopy doopy book. And actually, let me, I guess, run a couple things by you in this aspect, I guess. Okay. So, and I'm fine doing this with the other book too, now that we have another person doing this. So I guess there's a couple of things before we get started. So, you know, we're giving away this book. I think I can turn this down now. Holy shit, that's my eyeballs. So, you know, we're giving away this one, the one that I am doing all of my notes on. Like, this one is going to be given away to somebody. And then someone also is going to be getting, well, the winner for this one's already been established. The James Patterson poop book, you know. I believe it's Christina has one that she's barely opened that she wants to send me to the P.O. box that is not written in. There's no notes. There's no highlights, anything. It's brand new that we're going to give away too when it comes to Broken Plea. I want to get these books like sent off when everything is done and over with. So when I get Christina's book and we're done with this, like the last chapters of this week should be it, because we really need to like get to this one now that this one's here. I want to go ahead and buy a brand new copy of the James Patterson book and give that one away as well, since I have that one. And I'll just, I guess, well, I'm not going to do it with the damn $100 Siree book, but any other books that we do some sort of review for, I guess it would be kind of interesting to do like someone wins just the book itself and someone wins like my book that I put all my notes and stuff in. But there's also something else. I am going to start doing this right here to everything that we start going over, the way that we did with Siree when we were going over the 40-page like little preview that he put out, how I had taken pictures and then came in and posted it up so that I could like highlight and stuff like that so that it was easier for us to go over. I kind of want to do the same thing all the way through. So I think before I send the books off, I'm going to go in and like scan everything that I did in way of the notes. And I'll either, or actually, I guess I can do it both ways. What I'll probably do is I will have a link for it in the Google Drive that will go to like something like this. That is like my version with my notes and stuff in it that you guys can access from a Google Drive. But I'll also place it like in a video on YouTube and just have the pages at like 10-second intervals. And then it's like a pause to read situation so that people can access it both ways. I don't think I can get in trouble considering that I have written the hell out of this thing. You know what I mean? Like I've talked shit. I'm cussing people out. I've got all kinds of taco stains. Okay, there's no way that they can copyright me if like it's written all over, especially if I have my monkey watermark over it, which is probably what I'll do. I think that's what I'm going to do. Something I really wanted to do, and I wonder if it's a waste of time or if it's something I should maybe do. So let me ask you guys. Not James Patterson book because that's more of a personal type, okay, I guess by personal, I mean, it's more like not fact-based. It's like people's lives, where people worked, getting into their like personal lives, right? Broken Plea, however, is supposed to be evidence-based, fact-based, and we know damn well almost every freaking syllable in this damn thing is incorrect. So what if the first book I put out is not a book about the case itself, but it is a direct page-by-page rebuttal of this book that I publish on Amazon. Literally referencing this book and everything that's wrong in it and give everyone like the links and the directions on where to go for the public documents that proves what's wrong, what's right. The FBI documents about Ethan's hair, people are still running their mouths acting like that's something that's not real. It's an FBI lab report that was posted to the court in June. What do you mean? I could sit here and literally page by page debunk this damn thing and self-publish it on Amazon and reference it itself, reference Chris Whitcomb himself. I mean, we've already done it once. All my notes are right here. I think I'm going to. Because you can self-publish on Amazon, anybody can. And I've done it already with a notary thing. So I know about the templates and the measurements that they have you use. I know the whole process. And I already have an account with them because I have like one of those affiliate link thingies. But I'm really thinking I should because everything's basically already done. And this is horrible. Guys, this is horrible. There's parts where he doesn't even have the right year of the car that Kohberger actually owns. This chapter itself starts off with complete nonsense. Starts off with complete and utter bullshit, okay? So this part right here is apparently just something that Kohberger sent off to his family. And I don't know if it's something that he got from somewhere or if it's something that he wrote himself. But this apparently was sent off on 10/6/23, and it says, "Dear family, together, hand in hand, and galvanized by the wisdom of singular heart." And see how certain things are capitalized? That's why I'm trying to figure out from that other one, like what exactly he was referencing, because it's like worded certain ways. And this heart word was in the last one too, that we still can't figure out where it's coming from. "We triumphantly ascend to new peaks, thus apprehending the beautiful pattern form of the labyrinthine path taken afore. Indeed, we have traversed many once novel territories, finding that when all else may seem variable and tropic, it is the one constant from which clarity and serenity are ever accessible. Love always," and then his name and his nicknames and everything from down here. But I don't know if he's getting that from something or where it's coming from. I'm not really quite sure. This instantly again starts off with some bullshit because just like the narrative that mainstream media tried to pull when they tried to suddenly make the 11/29/2022 two car sightings that are in the probable cause order matter when they don't. He's doing the exact same thing here when we already know because Chief Jenkins came out and told us, and they've already verified that the 11/29 situation literally meant nothing. The 11/29/2022 situation where two officers, one saw Kohberger's car in the system and one of them saw the car in the parking lot. Neither one of them sent anything regarding those two situations off to the police. There was no tip. There was nothing done. Nothing. Brett Payne himself already stated that when they got the phone call on 12/19, there was literally nothing in the tip line system regarding Kohberger whatsoever. That was the first time on 12/19 that his name was officially entered into the record. So he instantly starts with the 11/29/22 situation 2 weeks after the crimes took place and acts like this is where everything starts taking off. What's also super freaking crazy here is that he straight up is lying, saying that on 11/29/22 is also the exact same day that Detective Dollinger, Anthony Dollinger, who's now the police chief, transported the K-bar knife sheath to the Idaho State Police Lab. You are so beyond wrong. It's not even funny. It's disgusting. It's ridiculous. I don't understand why you're over here lying if you apparently have all the same documentation that we do. What do we know so far when it comes to this? Oh, thank you so much for the gifted memberships. Sharon and Deathchild each gifted one membership. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Congratulations to the two of those that got those. Thank you. That was very sweet. Okay, so this would be under Moscow. And again, here is the folder, Moscow Police Department, FOIA. So when we went to find information on the 11/18/22 resubmission, they ended up giving us, well, this is the version that I fixed because parts of it was out of order. They ended up giving us the actual chain of custody. The actual chain of custody for the knife sheath. Now, before we had the chain of custody for the knife sheath, what did we know already? What we already knew is that it was sent to the lab on 11/16, and that by 11/29/22, it was still with the lab. What do we know about how it got to the lab? We know that on the 16th, a trooper picked it up bright and early from MPD, met up with another trooper halfway, transported it to the other trooper. That trooper then took it all the way to the lab. On the 17th, bright and early that morning, they started doing work on it. Where the hell is this idiot getting that on 11/29, Dollinger brought the K-bar knife to the ISP lab? The ISP lab sent the knife sheath back to MPD on December 13th. How do we know that? Because we have emails between Riley Nowlin where she's confused as shit about what she actually sees because she says at first that everything excluded the metal snap. And then in her next email, she's talking about how it was the inside of the metal snap and not the outside. And it's a bunch of bullshit that they still haven't clarified. But the very last email in that thread is him saying that this CM person right here was going to be taking it back to the lab. There is nothing on here about 11/29 anywhere. We have 11/14 when it was booked, sent to the lab, temporary release to ISP, 11/16. And then it ends up going back. Okay, so it was 12/16. It ends up being driven back to ISP, back to MPD. 11/29, it was still sitting at the lab. Did he not think we were going to get the chain of custody? To know that Detective Dollinger did not transport the K-bar knife to the Idaho State Police Lab on 11/29/22, why would you put such blatantly incorrect information in here? Why would you do that? That's crazy to sit there and lie like that. That makes no sense literally at all. And notice it says right here, within hours, the detectives began gathering personal information and blah, 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 blah. Starts going off about having everything from his AT&T records to the Pennsylvania DMV and everything in between. And he's acting like this is coming from the cops seeing Bryan's car on 11/29. And that is not true. Do you guys remember literally as soon as soon as the order came out about them saying that they could change, like figure out the IgG story, that remember that episode that we went over with Brian Inton and a bunch of other people where all of a sudden they started pretending like the 1129 was the first time. And at that point, we had already heard from Chief Jenkins. We already knew the truth. We'd already heard about there being conversations in court about there being no correspondence whatsoever about Bryan Kohberger from 1129. There was nothing all the way until 1219. We already knew all of that. But the second they agreed to that, this mainstream bullshit came out, and we did a live review on it, and we instantly caught it. We're like, hold up. Y'all are literally jumping from this plate situation straight to taking trash out of Pennsylvania at his parents' house. And that's not how the frick this happened. Y'all are skipping everything in between. The fact that this dude is out here writing this book exactly the way that the liars put the story out is so gross. It's so disgusting. Broken Plea, chapter 12. View. Bullshit ass book. Makes no damn sense. Like, I don't know why this dude is lying. So bad. It is so bad. Okay, so then let's see. The rest, all of this is really just like about where he went to school, the hotel that they stayed in, stuff that he bought at his apartment when he first moved in because it was a new move-in. Now, I don't understand why he's not mentioning, or at least when he's like talking about like, why would he do this and why would he do that? And he's like, why would he go all the way to Pennsylvania to enroll in a PhD program? And I'm like, well, because he was recommended for it. I honestly don't know the schools that he was looking at before his professor said, hey, you might want to, I'm going to recommend you for this. I don't know if he was already looking at that school. I don't know if he was looking at other schools. I have no idea about how the decisions were prior to the recommendation. We just know that the recommendation is how he got there. Now, one thing I do find really interesting, and it's the same thing that I said when it comes to the state, okay? We know Bryan Kohberger is not a perfect person, okay? We're not going to sit here and pretend. We're very honest about the things that we know about Bryan Kohberger's past because all of it matters. So when it came to the state saying that they weren't going to use the 2014 cell phone incident where he stole his sister's phone and sold it, I was really shocked. When they kind of played around and acted like they weren't going to really mention anything about his drug past or anything like that, I was kind of surprised because they are taking things that have no stance, no relevance, no strength whatsoever, and they're trying to make them mean something that they don't mean. Prime example is the Latah County traffic stop. And that traffic stop, who looks like the bad guy? The cop. The cop does. He does not pull over Kohberger for not having a seatbelt. He pulls him over for allegedly speeding. And he asks him, I didn't notice, but did you have your seatbelt on? And Kohberger tells him no, he didn't have a seatbelt on. So even though the officer has already said he didn't notice the seatbelt, he gives him a seatbelt ticket instead of a speeding ticket. And some people are like, okay, well, he did him a favor. What does it matter? Well, because ethics and morals matter, and you're obviously too shallow to not understand. Way over your head, I guess. The officer lied. He wrote someone a ticket for something that he already admitted he did not see. That is like illegal. You can't do that. You can't do that. And now all it seems to me is that Kohberger turned it into one of his school assignments because instantly he was like, so what if someone's honest with you? Does that change the way that you would react in that situation? He turned it into an experiment to see what the guy was going to act like. Kohberger might have actually had his seatbelt on. We don't know. But the video portrays the cop as the liar and Kohberger as the honest person because he's admitting to the cop that he was doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing, which was not wearing a seatbelt. And you know damn well, 9 out of 10 of us, 9.5 out of 10 of us right here in this room together right now would have lied our asses off and told that cop, hell yeah, I have my seatbelt on, you crazy? Yeah, I have my seatbelt on. Like it was nothing. And that's what I mean. That evidence for the traffic stop was only submitted to prove demographics, name, car, address, and phone number. Nothing about premeditation, stalking, surveillance, using it to make plans, or anything like that. And that had to be added as the reasoning for the 404B, and it wasn't. So I never understood why, just like in this book, how he is now saying, and now it's not a heinous crime, okay? It's not a heinous crime, but it's a crime. And it is a history of not really too good behavior. Drugs, not being trustworthy. Yes, he got past it, but it's still in his past. So it's just really interesting to me that the things that they could hold against him, which most courts technically would, because they want to show some sort of escalation, but they all seem to just not do it. And I just find that like the opposite of the way that things normally go. I don't know. That's very strange to me. And I'm honest about all the things, regardless of how I feel about the case. I find it really odd that the state seems to do more favors for him than the defense does. Odd. I don't know why he put in here where he had met Kaylee and Maddie, because we already know, and Home Dude knew at the time he wrote this book. Kohberger never met Kaylee and Maddie. There was no proof of any meeting of anybody. So why he puts this in here is crazy to me. So he goes in and talks about more of the family dynamic, how his parents raised 3 kids, which we know would be Bryan and his 2 sisters, and that most of the family is from Brooklyn, New York. The parents got married on Valentine's Day in 1987. It was a small Catholic wedding of about 50 people at a St. Patrick's Church in Bay Ridge. And it says that Marianne Kohberger was born and raised in nearby Carroll Gardens, where she attended but then taught Catholic school for 8 years. And it looks like, I'm assuming 6 years after 1987, with the way this was worded, is when they went ahead and moved to Pennsylvania. It shows, see right here again, it says he had no history of violence, which we know that what he did wasn't violent, but then again, or interactions with law. And we know that the Kohbergers called the police and had the police involved in the situation with the cell phone. Now, it is minor, but it's still interesting how these things they could definitely try to use are not being used in a way that they're trying to use things that don't have any meaning. It's just so freaking strange. It's just so freaking strange. Now, this also, like, never had a girlfriend thing is also not true. Now, as you can see, we're going to be getting into some pieces where this is where Marianne and Michael were spoken to on the night that Bryan Kohberger was arrested. You're also going to see some very incorrect dates in here because Chris Whitcomb is a dumb shit. You'll notice them pretty much right off the bat. Now, I know that he had to have gotten this from either Turvey or whoever else he was talking to. I'm not really quite sure, because these are FBI documents and we have not been able to get a damn thing out of the freaking FBI. So what's crazy to me is that all in the beginning of the book, he has pages and pages and pages of irrelevant documentation, things that are unnecessary, things he never touches back on again. He just places full-on interview reports or full-on police reports just smack dab in the middle of a chapter, never goes back to them, never gives them any context. They're just sitting there. But these last couple of chapters, he seems to be like, because they're just way too long, we're going to go ahead and summarize. Because these are just too many pages, we're going to go ahead and summarize. Well, you didn't care about that when it came to the shit that we already know. But when it comes to the stuff that we have no clue about, that we want more information on, you're giving us some little bullshit clips that you're paraphrasing. So how am I supposed to actually trust that these are really coming from where he says, if it's not a verbatim situation the way that everything else was? For all we know, he could be making all this shit up. He could be making all this shit up. We don't freaking know. Will we ever find out? I don't know. Who knows? Crazy bullshit. But we also know. I brought that up because I've been going back and I've been recording a lot of older stuff. And I've already heard like 2 people that knew Bryan Kohberger come forward and do interviews from way back in the day, beginning of 2023. Both of them have already mentioned that he did have like several different girlfriends in school when they knew him. So this whole like no girlfriend thing is interesting. Plus his mom also says he did have a couple of girlfriends, just not a lot. And we also know that there was a girl that liked him at WSU, just wasn't interested in her. So for them to constantly act like, oh, he never had a girlfriend, he was such a loner, oh my God, he never got along with women, he had a problem with women, that's not true. see, again, they're using shit that's not true for something it's not, and they're not using other things that they could be using, even though I really feel like they're also irrelevant. It's just strange. It's just weird, okay? It's just weird. Okay. So here we go with this dumb shit. I'm probably going to look at the book instead of up here, maybe. I don't know. I'm undecided. I don't really like how this is like zooming because it's not just like doing it the way I want to. Can I fix it? Is that good enough? No. I guess that'll work. Okay, so I'll look it up here. Okay. So this one says on December 30th. This one's fine. It's when it goes to Michael's portion of this. The dumb shit says that the interview is taking place on December 20th. But then goes on and talks like about how things are happening after December 20th in the interview that he's saying took place on December 20th, and he makes that mistake twice. This is such a shit book. Like, even if AI wrote this, I feel like if AI wrote it, it could have been better. Like, I don't even want to give like there any lenience here. Like, I'm just going to say Chris Whitcomb is a dumb shit. And everybody that helped him write this book are dumb shits. Because there's so much in here that's wrong. I think AI probably could have done better. That's saying a lot if you know how I am about AI. Okay. On December 30th, 2022, Bryan's mom, Bryan Kohberger, was interviewed by FBI special agents Jessica L. Mahoney, Matthew Mark Phillips, and Eric Bailey at the Pennsylvania State Police Fern Ridge Barracks in Blakesley, where she and her husband had been taken while their house was being searched. And he has file numbers and all that other stuff. Now, remember, when I called MPD one time and we were having a little discussion, she said MPD never spoke with Kohberger's family. So it seems like the FBI only spoke to his family and MPD only spoke to Kohberger the one time in Pennsylvania, and then MPD never did a damn thing else. And they lost the transcript, and they lost the pocket recording, and they don't have their own copy of the damn interview, even though it was their officer that was there. Gotta love it. Gotta freaking love it. So it says here, Special Agent Eric Bailey questioned Marianne regarding a conversation which took place prior to Bryan moving to Washington State. Marianne recalled a conversation in which she suggested Bryan obtain something to defend himself in the event of a bear attack while Bryan hiked in the western U.S. Now, I put the F right there because of this next statement, which also makes it to where if we do get the interview, it's going to give him a little bit of leeway to not be completely honest or correct because a part of this interview was not recorded. Though the first part of this interview was not recorded. How much of it was not recorded? You have 3 people in here speaking to this woman, and the first portion wasn't recorded. The later pages are going to say that Michael Kohberger was kept and talked to for like 3.5 hours. Was that all recorded? Who freaking knows? Who knows? Special Agent Bailey clearly seems interested in a K-bar knife police say Bryan purchased with an Amazon gift card while living in Pennsylvania approximately 8 months before the crimes. Now, I put right here because I read this portion this morning. Y'all know I read it the day that we're doing it because this is a reaction channel, so I don't get ahead and I focus on the chapter itself. 7/7/26 still has not been released. 7/7/26, over a year past us having the plea signed, and we have still not seen the sheath. So the only other thing that we could think of is basically what we figured last night going through our inventory report for our first episode of Moscow Monday is to ask for pictures and receipts and information for them going back in from the same listing that Kohberger apparently purchased this shit from. And getting that information. Give me the duplicate information. If you're not going to give me the one that he apparently bought himself for some reason, give us the duplicate information. So we'll see what they do. They'll probably have a reason not to give it to us, but we shall see. It says, Marianne did not know if Bryan purchased anything for this purpose and was unaware of Bryan specifically purchasing a knife for this purpose. So see, right here is really interesting because the way that they made it sound, and again, I hadn't read this section beforehand, but the way that everyone was making this portion of this interview sound was that she was taking direct responsibility for these very specific purchase of this K-bar knife. And that's not how this is all at all. This is, yeah, she wanted him to have something to defend himself, but that she was like unaware of him actually buying a K-bar for that. So I don't know why people came out here and lied about the intention of this conversation. What is the word for it? Insinuation of this conversation, but it's definitely not what people were pretending that it was. Literally at all. Literally at all. The second part of the FBI document is a transcription of the larger recorded interview with Special Agents Mahoney and Phillips. At 38 pages, the transcript is too long to reprint here, but you could release it. You know, if you really cared about transparency and honesty and the justice system, Mr. ex-FBI, if you have 38 pages, you could release it. But you're choosing not to. For your own reasons, I'm sure. The transcript is too long to reprint here, but some sections provide fascinating glimpses into the man himself, blah, 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 blah. Let's go back down. This is coming from Marianne herself. We supported him, Marianne Kohberger responds to Special Agent Phillips at the beginning of the interview. Both my daughters are both therapists, so we read a lot of encouragement and a lot of support from them, you know. This is followed by a bunch of small talk. And right here, I was just like, who gives a shit? Where he's like, this is called rapport building at the FBI National Academy, where I spent 2 years as a supervisory special agent within the communications unit. You suck. No one gives a shit what you did. You suck. You're a liar. And you're taking no accountability for all of the freaking things you've got wrong. I don't care what you did. It was all for nothing. It was all for nothing. So it goes down here. And it says that she has no lawyer present. So she's isolated and it's early in the morning hours. They just had their house broken into by the police and they've been drugged down there. They're older. I'm sure it was not a good time, literally at all. So it comes down and says, you know, so we've always been there, you know, Miss Kohberger states well into the interview, but it was very short-lived. See, right here, he's not really giving a lot of context. When it comes to what's very short-lived, what he is telling us is about Kohberger's substance issues whenever he was a teenager. Now, we know that he basically went from doing nothing at all to going straight to an H needle, which is crazy. But apparently, it just kind of like came in and overtook this little small town. And small town is an overstating what this area actually is where he grew up. But it just like overtook the place and everything went crazy. But he also went through like a whole detox thing and got clean, lost a bunch of weight, all the stuff. So they are going to be talking about substance use and other things like that. And we do know from other interviews and other things that we've read about Kohberger's history that he did have a really, really close friend that passed away, overdosed and passed away. And there was a situation that took place between him and this person's mom sometime after he had passed away, after Kohberger had gotten clean and was working a program. But like all of this was a very well-known situation. So again, it's just interesting to me that the people that could be using this stuff against him are not. It's just so strange. There's not another word for that. That's the opposite of what you normally would see in situations like this. Like for really, really. Oh, and you know what else I found today? And I can't wait to make a little clip of it and send this over to little Chris Hansen. So I'm going to reclip the section where Christy Goncalves says that she never saw the 11-12 cameras until they just had recently come out and blah, 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 the bullshit she lied to Chris Hansen about. Because you know what? I went back in today to make sure I had the full copy of the interview that they did with Chronicles of a Frickin' Livia. Remember that one? Yeah. And she literally is the one who says 156. Yep, that's the cart. That's them pulling in. We saw them pulling in, blah, 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 blah. It comes out of Christy's mouth in that interview. So I'm going to clip those little pieces together and I'm going to tag the shit out of Chris Hansen everywhere I can. Like, how are you not going to respond to the fact that she openly lied to you? You're on the board of her damn DNA foundation, and she's a freaking liar. Lied straight to your face on your channel. I love receipts, bro. Love them. That's probably why I have such a good couponer. Anyway, let's see. Where were we at right here? We go down to, yeah, so it goes down to, we were fortunate in that regard because like in our community, a lot of families were not as fortunate. It was very ongoing, and we had a lot of people that we know that lost children to it. So we felt really lucky and very, very fortunate and blessed. And I put Patterson's book because in Patterson's book is where he actually interviewed, I think her name is Connie. I think it's Connie. I'm not really quite sure, but he met up with her and did an interview with her, and he had given her some information about how her son and Kohberger were really close at one point before he passed away. Now, this is just a guy, this is just the Special Agent Phillips guy talking about how, oh, he's done, investigations into this and blah, 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 and how they're using empathy to try to like get her to open up to them. And then he says, more often than not, really, his partner agrees. So the other FBI agent, when I hear a success story like this, I always say, never give up on somebody with a problem like that. And then Marianne says, but here we are. Miss Kohberger responds, so like, what are we here talking about? And then Phillips turns things back to the matter at hand. The interview of Marianne Kohberger is not about consolation. Well, and that's what, again, not to sound like a broken record, but that's why we're here, he says. We want to know more about the person, Bryan, okay? I don't think there's any, he's my angel, the mother tells him. There's no better person to tell his story, Phillips continues, and she says again, he's my angel. They're really close, like they're super close. At this point, the rapport is going out the window, and basically they're trying to get to what they're trying to get to, I guess. So that's why like all of this rapport building stuff is just annoying, because like everybody knows that when they're being spoken to by the police, it's for something very specific. They don't give a shit about your mama and them. They don't care how your neighbor's doggy's doing. Like they're just trying to make you feel comfortable. Like anybody, come on, like everybody knows that. It's all a bunch of waste of time. So while Bryan was in the home, did he socialize with any of his friends or anything, or did he just stay home? Meaning, I guess, on this like trip back. He doesn't have a big group of friends, no, the mother responds. He touched base with one of his best friends from Arizona who's still in Arizona, but no, he's been mostly home with the family, just chilling. So apparently he still has a really close friend in Arizona. I don't think we've ever heard this person's name. I don't know if it's male or female. This person has never come forward as far as I've ever seen. I've never ever heard of anybody from Arizona when it comes to Kohberger's side. Xana's side of the family, we know there's a lot of people from Arizona. I think we also know that he has family in Reno, like the Reno area, which is also where Bethany's family is from. There's a bunch of, places, but no actual connections because, at the end of the day, it's just a small world for some crazy reason. She calls her son a homebody and says everything seemed normal when he returned from school. She tells the FBI her son is a regular guy who likes to run but does not work out. And then he takes a job and says, which police already know from half-naked selfies on his phone. See, I also don't understand why they keep constantly having to talk about that. Like, it's just freaking creepy, honestly. Miss Kohberger says her son was happy to see Scout. That's the dog. She said he calls the dog his Bubba. And then there's a nickname, Bleebin, is I guess how you would pronounce it. You say that he's an angel, S.A. Mahoney presses. He's kind. He's your baby. Does he have any anger issues ever? Ms. Kohberger says her son is not an angry person, has never exhibited any confrontational behavior, does not hold grudges. Though the FBI's behavioral analysis unit has weighed in with guidance, they were never asked to profile the offender. So if this section right here is true, does that mean that they were never asked to profile Kohberger after they had his information? Or does this say that Bill Thompson has been more of a liar than we already thought because he told everybody in every interview ever that the only reason why they never got a true confession out of Kohberger is because they were told by an FBI profiler 2 weeks into the case. These are his freaking words. That whoever did this, their mind would not be normal. Whatever they had to say, you couldn't trust if it was the truth because he was most likely going to be lying, and that anything they would try to say to make anything make sense wouldn't make sense to anyone with a normal mind because they would just be too twisted. So does this mean that no profiler actually came in and did a profile? Or does this mean that the FBI wasn't asked to come in and do a profile on Kohberger? I need some clarification. Some clarification, you know. Welcome, Barbara Benson, or is it Barb Robinson? You know, it could be either way, but I'm pretty sure it's Barb Robinson. Thank you so much for joining. I very much appreciate that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I don't know. I wish you know, some clarity there, but he's gonna lie, this guy, because he's stupid. And he's been caught already lying about everything else. So there's really no telling, you know, what's true and what's not. Who freaking knows? Okay. So then it goes down here, talks about girlfriends. And she says no girlfriends right now. He had a couple basically in the past, but not a lot. Okay. You don't have to, you know, jump from person to person and make it a big deal. I don't see why people act crazy about that. So then he mentions, I'm trying to see what I wrote off to the side. So then he mentions any romantic partners being possible in Washington, and she says that he was only making friends and that she does not know the names of a lot of them. So then she also tells Phillips that she would feel uncomfortable even mentioning them, but did bring up one international student later identified and interviewed in the mainstream media as a WSU colleague. Now, we know from Dateline that we're pretty positive that the international student, I guess, because I don't know what nationality she actually is, that the student that he's walking around with at Walmart, that female, is most likely the exact same female. And I know her name is somewhere. It's not like stamped in my brain because we haven't done a video just directly really like talking about all of her stuff, which we have the Dateline episode, we have the piece now, and Plunder actually had put something out, like it's probably been like 2 months now, over on the Facebook page of hers. And I took like 2 screenshots of what it was that she was talking about because it was about this subject. It was about this girl, but I can't remember exactly what it was. I know that we were going to touch on it because it was like updated information and it was like fresh in my brain then, but it wasn't like case relevant. And it was just one of those, you know, if there was nothing else to talk about case relevant that day, or if we just wanted to take a break from evidence and just look into this little side piece then we were going to look into that. And I honestly just don't remember what it was, but it was 2 months ago. Some of you might've seen it again over on her Facebook page. I don't think she put anything about it on YouTube. I'm not quite sure, but I'm pretty positive that it's the same girl. But that would mean that it's also the same girl with the break-in story that didn't tell the cops or anybody that her apartment was apparently broken into, but then called Kohberger over to spend the night with her because she didn't want to be home by herself. Pretty positive that this is all one and the same human. If it's not, that's going to be pretty interesting. But I'm pretty positive that it's the same person. I'm pretty positive that it's the same person. Now, I also don't recall, does anybody actually know did she ever come out and talk to the media? Like, is there actually like a piece of an interview of the international girl talking? I don't know. So I'm going to look and see, but I know that when it came to Dateline, they said that they hadn't been able to actually talk to her. Oh no. Well, happy birthday, Gracefully Salty. That sucks. Look, I've had my dad forget my birthday before. I think it was like my 30th. He forgot till the next day. That sucks. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Yeah, I don't think so either. I'm gonna look for it because I could be wrong. We could have missed it. It could have been something on a small channel and it maybe didn't get a lot of views at the time. I don't know. Because that's also another thing that I want to go back and grab is like all of the interviews afterwards from everybody who would claim to have known him. But I don't remember it being, I don't remember her ever coming out and speaking. Now, he also says this is not the woman named Hallie Wet, I don't know, who said she went on a Tinder date with Kohberger while he was a graduate student at Pennsylvania. Now, I didn't actually know that girl's name, and I'm going to look it up real quick. Girl who said she went on Tinder date with Kohberger. But the other girl... Y'all, I literally typed in girl who said, let me move my fat ass head. Look at this shit. Girl who said she went on Tinder date with Kohberger, Brett Payne. Oh my god. I'm just gonna clip that. Brett Payne. Unbelievable. That is so funny. Oh my god. It is so freaking hilarious. It is so freaking hilarious. Tay, so much corruption. Thank you for being a member for so long. Well, happy late birthday. Happy late birthday. Happy late birthday. So many birthdays. 7-7 is cool. 7-6 is cool. Yeah, that's wild. So yeah, her name, I guess, is Haley. Is this the full thing? But I know the girl that gave him her phone at the pool party, her name was Holly. So that's interesting. The H is right there. I'm trying to see where her full name is on this one. This woman who was only identified as C in the redacted files told police she matched with a cold-blooded killer on a dating app. No, I'm pretty sure that this is the other guy. See, okay, so that's crazy. This person, I remember reading this report, and this report was not about Kohberger. This was about a whole different person. And they wrote an article in the California Post, which is just like the New York Post, but they wrote an article in the California Post saying that that report was about Kohberger. That is not true. Oh, see right here, look. Y'all remember that report? Because we were like, oh, I want to see like who that is. This was not about Kohberger. That's crazy. Holy shit. Okay, wait, hold on. I think this is it right here. Hayley. Is that how they have her name spelled in the book? Haley. Haley. And on her video, hold on a second. I'll go back to this one.
Hey, it's me, the girl that went on a Tinder date with Bryan.
Can y'all hear that? Or do I need to reshare the screen? I don't know if it's going to share audio. Hold on. There it is. Yeah, this is the girl.
People have been trying to dox me, specifically on Reddit, but I never thought the comments that I made on Hobot News would make it to TikTok or Reddit or literally anything. But here we are. So I thought I would make this because a lot of people are just saying things that are not true at all. My interactions with Bryan were very brief. I don't know much about him. My total interactions with him were like 24 hours. We matched on Tinder. We talked for a couple hours, and then he was like, hey, you want to go to the movies with me tonight? And I was like, sure. So we went to the movies. Honestly, I don't even remember what movie we saw. We ended up going back to my dorm, and he kind of invited himself inside. I thought he was just going to drop me off, but that was not the case. He kind of invited himself inside, and I was just like, okay, I went along.
Yeah, I remember listening to this girl and thinking, damn girl, you were so full of shit. You are so full of shit. Full of shit. The crazy thing is that these people didn't even ever, literally ever, have her pull up her Tinder, have her show that she ever matched with him. Yeah, look, it still says Brett Payne. This is so beautiful. Girl who said she went on Tinder date with Kohberger, Brett Payne. I love it. So hilarious. Yeah, the California Post is stupid. That report was not about Kohberger. Wow. That was a funky little adventure. Okay. All right, let's see. But yeah, it is interesting. Her name is Haley. And then the other girl who is also a redhead. Like, obviously, she dyes her hair red, like that, the way that I dye my hair red. But the Holly girl from the party is an actual, like, red head. So it's just interesting. But they never had her show proof that she even matched with him. They just took her word for it and put her all over the screen because she was willing to lie or act a fool about things. I don't believe her at all about the way that she was acting, especially with the way that her like grovel or frog tone or freaking voice kept changing when you can tell that she started talking about how he was wanting to force himself in. He basically forced himself in. That's whenever I knew you were full of shit. Like, seriously. I'm not going to sit here and say that I wouldn't believe, 20 different people with stories out of their own faces, but you definitely have not shown any proof of anything. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Show me some proof you matched with him and I'll probably believe your story, but you haven't shown any proof of anything and you just seem like one of them people. One of them people, Yeah, that's a big change, coming from rural Pennsylvania, moving across the country by yourself, and it doesn't sound like he's ever lived on his own. And I said, basically, well, because he was a student. He was a full-time student, so there's nothing wrong with him still living with his parents. He was in school full-time to get a master's. He's lucky he was able to live with his parents the entire time and not have to be out in the real world surviving and paying bills and trying to go to school because it's freaking hard to have to do all of that and focus on your education. And I don't see a problem with it. So the fact that people like to make a big deal about him being in his late 20s and still living at home. Yeah, he was in school full time. He had a journey he was on, and his parents were fully supportive of that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Literally nothing wrong with that at all. So she responded again, no, this is his first time. So when it comes to his adaptation to life alone on the other side of the country, she said her son had adapted well, had seemed happy in regular phone conversations, and checked in with them almost every day, and sent pictures of his new apartment. And she was asked, would he talk to other family members? And she says, no, he would call his dad and, talk to the girls once in a while, but mostly me, his two sisters. Mother and son talks, mother and son talks. Did he have any concerns or anything like that about school, or were you concerned about anything? No, he had just finished the semester with a 3.8. So if he had suddenly been let go, his mom is not saying, yeah, he came home and he had this whole plan that he had to go through and he got in all this trouble, blah, 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 whatever. There's none of that there. So then they talk about his organizational skills. And what she describes right here is literally what we've seen from his apartment photos. Yeah, he's very organized, so he gets things done. Well, sometimes. Mostly he's organized when it comes to his work. Sometimes at home he would get sloppy with clothing and stuff like that. But no, this is just really weird for me. Meaning being in this situation of this interview thing. But that's honestly something that we've seen a lot of, people that have certain minds. They can be super, super organized when it comes to their work and everything when it comes to their train of thought that way. But in their personal lives, everything is a mess. Everything is just a mess. The receipts are all over the place. The dishes don't really get done in time. There's a lot of different things. Now, he does have some sort of OCD when it comes to his hands. We're going to see some more of that in this as well. There's some inmate conversations where people are saying that they have watched him go through 3 bars of soap in a week, washing his hands because he washes them so incessantly. And I think there's like 2 different inmates that they talk about has that information when they go and speak to them about him. She says he has no hobbies other than an interest in being outdoors and a love for nature, which we know that he apparently goes out and hikes a lot. And it's not really apparently, like, the proof is all in his phone. That's all that Celebrite really wanted to send was a bunch of selfies. And again, I asked them twice if they had anything other than the selfies that they could like give us that was, you know, not his face everywhere, anything else in the phone, and they never responded. So they never responded. Okay, let's see. How about sleep? Does he sleep, or is he one of those people who is like a night owl and then sleeps during the day? It depends on what's going on. Like if he has things that he has to do during the course of the day, then obviously he's going to do that. But sometimes he's up at night. I mean, there'll be some times where I don't go to sleep till the sun's coming up because I just literally can't. Like I'm laying in bed staring at the ceiling and not being able to sleep. But there's sometimes I'll go to bed early and sleep for 12 hours. It just all depends on what's going on. Now, they claim that this part right here would be relevant later when it comes to the times for things. And, of course, I put right here that as of 7/7/26, we have no actual phone report from anything that has been unsealed that shows in an analytical phone forensic download report that that phone was turned off. They have yet to show us that. Yet to show us that. Now, right here, it says at least one witness saw him going out after dark to hike up to the mountains near WSU. I don't know if that is that, I guess, neighbor at the apartments that he would take walks on or not. I don't remember where that information came from. How about any concerns of like partying out in Washington or here even when he was going to school? No, not a party animal. No, not a party animal, not a drinker. Now, I put this part right here, even though we don't technically know if it's true or not, but there was 2 reports when it came to the WSU interviews where they said that there was this one thing that the cohort, what they call it, the cohort, all the TAs and the international students, that they all got together and had like this thing at somewhere, I guess like a cookout or whatever, some sort of gathering. They all got together. And apparently Kohberger sat there and drank a whole bottle of wine by himself. So that's why I put that there, because there was at least two interview reports where that was in there. So we also know that there's at least one picture of him like at a wedding, or he's got like a glass of wine in his hand. So, I mean, drinking wine every now and then doesn't make you a drinker, you know, but we still know that like we have reports with stuff. She reiterates her son is normal in typical ways, and that the two of them share a mother-son bond, and that if he confided anything, it would be with her. Right, Ms. Kohberger says at one point, turning the interview specifically to the matter at hand, what's the story here? What are we looking at? So the reason we are at the house today was because of the arrest warrant and for the incidents that occurred in Idaho, okay? And she just says, okay. So then they talk about the Elantra that belongs to her son, the car that she and her husband bought for him. Now, I put that this wasn't true technically because if you look at the Carfax, which I did not dig it out and I will dig it out soon, it's on a USB drive in my Lego box. So I'll pull it out eventually here and pull it back up. Because remember, I bought the damn Carfax the day that the Plea stuff came out. So a bunch of this stuff that we had before that got put on a USB because we were going to have a whole new thing going on. But they had that car and she drove it around. She drove it for a little while. Like it was her car for a little while before they gave it to Bryan. So as far as we can tell from transfer information, it wasn't like bought specifically for him. Like they might have known automatically that it was going to go to him later on, but she drove it for not like a bunch of years, but like a few, you know, like a few. Let's see. She said she saw reports on the news that wasn't concerned because the car the police had been looking for was a different year of manufacturer. She said her son's car looks nothing like the one shown on TV and has a whole different front. It's amazing how that's the portion that comes up, considering we now have this whole like fog light problem and a lot of the evidence that was actually submitted that had to be withdrawn from court. What's going through my mind right now is that this is a really, really bad mistake. What's going on, like what's happening here. Yeah, and I sympathize with that because as a mom, I definitely would think the same way, Mahoney says. To me, I feel like I know it is. Ms. Kohberger shoots back, followed by, we know what our, who our children are, At that point, she tries to turn the conversation towards the search of her house, with the agents say only that the warrant was signed by a magistrate based on an affidavit. Now, apparently, this Phillips person says to her, there's a lot of evidence. Well, there's not. That was a false statement. They say that the arrest warrant was issued, the search warrant was issued, probable cause had to get there, blah, 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 whatever, considerable amount of evidence, but we know that that's bullshit. Agent Phillips confirms her son has been arrested for 4 counts of premeditated murder, which is always interesting to me because even the state's like, oh, there was only one target and everybody else was happenstance, circumstantial, collateral, blah, blah, blah. Well, then how can they all 4 be that? Like, they're not even paying attention to the fact that they don't even make any damn sense. So they say again that they only wanted to talk to her to get an idea about how Bryan actually is. So this is where she says, so now my son's face is going to be plastered all across the country. Yeah. In a S vest at that. Yeah. As one might expect, the interviewing agents skip over this question, claiming they don't know how the press is going to go. Oh, please. Never, ever, ever, she says, when told that the purpose of the interview is to find out whether she's had any concerns about behaviors that might indicate her son's involvement in the crimes. So no. My son would not do this. I will stake my life on that. There's a mistake. Something's wrong somewhere. And that's what I believe. And that's what I know in my heart. She lived with, it says, yeah, that they live, I can't even speak. She lived with her son until he left home, which we already knew. She seemed shocked and certain that the police have mistaken her son for the killer. This is a nightmare, she says midway through the conversation. It's a mother's emotional reaction to what must seem like a surreal interruption of her family's life. This is an absolute nightmare. Then turning to the family dog. So the dog was taken and was in the interview room with her. That's crazy. They took the dog. That's wild. Who had apparently been in the room during the interview. And she says, no, Bubba, come here. So the dog is there. That's wild. Okay, so this is where I said they're dumb shits. So they're saying here, okay, so this is what it was. It wasn't Michael Kohberger's interview. It was Brett Payne. They have Brett Payne writing the affidavit for probable cause on December the 20th. While in the probable cause order, he is referencing other dates about things that are going on, where it says on December 23rd, 2022, I was granted a search warrant for Kohberger's blah, 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 blah. So you're not getting a search warrant in the future for something that you're writing on the 20th. These idiots didn't even think to go in and check to see when things were actually written. And this mistake is in here twice. So damn dumb. And we're not reading this because you know what this is. This is the probable cause. This is the bullshit. We've already read all of this. And it's actually interesting because why is this here? Would it, Mr. I've got all these special people on the inside giving me all this information person over here, wouldn't he have the non-redacted version of this probable cause order? Why is there redactions in his probable cause that he's putting in here? That don't make no sense. That don't make no sense to me. So then it says that among over 3,500 text messages that he claims to have access to, he being Chris Whitcomb, he's claiming that between June 23rd and December 29th, that there was nothing that was going to be used by Bill Thompson's office, which we already knew this portion. There was nothing that was going to be used by Bill Thompson's office because there was literally nothing bad in the messages. As a matter of fact, the way that he describes all over 3,500 text messages between Bryan Kohberger and his 2 sisters and his mother and father are positive, cheerful, and banal. So no weird vibes, no arguments, no nothing. Regular conversations, nothing to be concerned about. 99% of cell phone contacts were family members. 70% of his text messages were back and forth with his mother and father. followed by about 30% with his sisters, Amanda and Melissa. Virtually all communications were positive, cheerful, and banal. Normal, everyday stuff. So they find absolutely nothing on his devices. They find absolutely nothing when they do search warrants to try to get information from the company's servers themselves when it comes to the victims, the roommates, the friends, Kohberger himself. Who knows what else they file search warrants for when it comes to the family members, friends that we don't even know exist. Who knows? All of these warrants, all of these internal databases, all of these devices checked, all of these things looked at, all of this personal information combed through, and literally nothing. Nothing from jail calls, nothing from jail mail, nothing from text messages, nothing from voicemails, nothing from emails. Literally nothing had a tone worthy of being placed as evidence against him. Nothing. Not one fragment of a sentence. Literally nothing. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Now, this is also what I find pretty interesting because we don't have this. Now, remember, I have asked for this 108-page timeline that would have this exact information on it and have been told by the Moscow Police Department that it does not exist in their system. I gave them the fact that it was over 1,000 entries, that it was 108 pages, that it was made in partnership with ISP. So there was a Moscow police officer and an ISP officer working on it, which we know, and I didn't put this in the FOIA, but we know would have been who? Brett Payne and Gilbertson. Gilbertson? Is it Gilbertson? Gunderson is the cop. Gilbertson is ISP. We know that it would have been them too because they were the leads on both sides. Unless they had somebody else doing it, it should have been them. According to them, it doesn't exist. And here it is, a whole, however long has passed. And I have not gotten a response at all from Chief Dollinger. And I emailed him yesterday regarding this 108-page timeline, the boo-boo bullshit with the 1112 audio that's not there for 1255 to 225. And then also for the most recent situation of us going back in and trying to get the chain of custody information for the spot on the kitchen floor that wasn't blood. But Chris Holland is trying to pretend like Xana's blood was in the kitchen, which, again, no response. Because you got to love these experts who can't take any accountability whatsoever for being wrong. Amazing. But I emailed Chief Dollinger about all of those things and have not gotten a response. So what it says here is that apparently at 4:11 in the morning, 4:11 in the morning, they have him texting his mother. So you mean to tell me that in the time frame where they're saying that his phone was off, that he was sending text messages? Is that what this means? Because this whole portion right here, I'm very confused on. It doesn't say on 11/13. It doesn't say on 11/13. But this says, the real interest police took in his personal communications, of course, involved state of mind and motive. What they found probably seemed disappointing, considering that his first text, Saturday morning, okay, never mind. Scratch what I just said. This was the day before. So this was on the 12th, Saturday morning, was sent at 4:11 a.m. to his mother, a JPEG image that was not further disclosed. He continued to text his family at 4:24 a.m. and 4:28 a.m., but sent nothing else until 4:33 p.m. So the day before the murders took place, he was awake and texting his family at the exact same times that they are saying that it was his car on the King Road cameras. I don't understand what's the point of putting this in here. Like, we know that he was awake. They said that he left. We know the car coming back into Pullman most likely is his vehicle because it doesn't have the fog lights and the back lights match, and it's not anything that's been removed. So I just don't really quite know, like, what was the point of putting this section in here? If it's not on the 13th and it's on Saturday the day before, other than to just show like, yeah, he's up at this time, this is completely normal, which might be the only reason why it's in here. But this section should have been in the timeline that he put in chapter 9. It shouldn't be written out in this format. It should be in chapter 9, because this makes it really confusing with no date on it. I didn't catch the first time when I was highlighting stuff that it said Saturday morning. So that would be 11/12, I'm assuming, since there's no date. But this just shows that he was up already messaging them. And then he was busy and didn't say anything else again for almost 12 hours because he was doing stuff that day. When he reached out to his father asking for a call and got a text in return from his mother, it said, "Bud, sorry. I was exercising and totally out of breath to be able to talk well. I will talk to you later this evening, finalizing my little routine." So just normal conversation. Normal conversation. And while Kohberger was very close with his mother, it would be negligent to overlook his relationship to the man police used to track the K-Bar Sheath's DNA, which again is his dad. Michael Kohberger spent 3 days driving 2,600 miles from Pullman, Washington to Albrightsville, Pennsylvania with his son shortly after the murders. Perhaps police likely thought they had discussed the crimes, but we know that that's not true because that's just not true. There was nothing to discuss. And here we have the wrong date again. December 20th, 2022, Michael Kohberger was interviewed at the Pennsylvania State Police Fern Ridge Barracks in Blakely. No, this was the 30th. Not the 20th. It was the 30th. So once again, he makes a huge mistake and doesn't fix it. Now it says that at 1:20 in the morning is when the search warrant was executed at the house. He was detained on site. And it says, according to an FD 302 report, he was transported. He was told everything he was saying would be voluntary. And once he agreed, he was transported by FBI agents to the Fern Ridge Barracks, 8 miles away from the house. Upon arrival at PSP Fern Ridge, Michael Kohberger was accompanied to an interview room where he met with interviewing agents for approximately 3 hours and 32 minutes. Crazy. With the exception of travel from the residence to the barracks, the duration of the interview with audio and video was recorded. So they didn't record the trip back and forth, but we have apparently the entire interview with nothing missing, unlike with Mary Ann's. And then it says that after this interview, he was taken to a waiting room to meet up with Mary Ann and one of the girls. Now, I honestly don't know off the top of my head which one was there that day. I don't remember if it was Amanda or Melissa. Did Melissa say something about it in that article interview that she did with Mike Baker? I don't honestly remember. I honestly thought both of them were there, but it's like been obvious over the past, year or so now that it was just the one. But I honestly don't remember which one. Because it's like not, case fact. So it's not stuck in my head. So I don't remember which one was there. I'm gonna have to go back and see. Then it says here, nothing Michael Kohberger told the FBI appears to have been mentioned in Bill Thompson's findings. So again, like nothing incriminating was talked about. It seems reasonable to believe Michael Kohberger told the FBI nothing incriminating about his son. And remember what was said in court? Like as they were getting ready before the plea, that the family had no intention of saying anything like against Kohberger. Like we know, I think it's Amanda that was going to be called by the state. And I don't know what she was going to be called for because they weren't going to talk about the cell phone thing. It doesn't seem that they were going to be talking about his substance past or anything. Maybe it was going to be about the Amazon account. I don't know what the hell she was going to be up there for. I have no idea. We just know that they said in court that the family had no intention of saying anything like negative at all. Like that's set on record. So this just tracks with that. There was nothing said that they even had in their files. There was literally nothing that they said that Bill Thompson even wanted to use. The crazy part about this, though, is this like the only time they were talked to? Because the way that Chris Whitcomb is putting all of this, it's like this is the one interview, and 3.5 years later, nothing about this interview ever made it to the files. Is this the only interview? You would think that they would have talked to them more than once. Now, we know that they did some stuff when it comes to a grand jury for, what was her name? Donna? Was it Donna Summers? There was the girl in Pennsylvania that they did the grand jury for to see if maybe Kohberger was related to that incident or maybe responsible for the incident. And the parents went in on 2 separate days. I think one went in on like a Tuesday and the other one went in on like a Thursday. It was like separated out. It was weird in order to like see if they could answer questions that maybe put Kohberger in the area at the time. And that one got pushed aside. That one got, no, he had nothing to do with anything. But there's no way that the freaking feds only spoke to them once. That just doesn't seem reasonable. You know what I mean? It just doesn't seem reasonable. Okay, so this is where it's getting down to where they speak to the inmates. And this is on March 1st. Detective Schwecke and Roberts go 85 miles south of Moscow to the North Idaho Correctional Institute in hopes of gaining insights from 2 inmates who had spent time with Kohberger shortly after his arrest. In supplement number 163, it apparently says this: that Jake Schwecke and Gideon Roberts interviewed Micah James DeMoss and Jesse Eugene Burnett at the North Idaho Correctional Institute regarding their interactions with Kohberger. Both DeMoss and Burnett had been housed at the Latah County Sheriff's Jail while with Kohberger after his arrest. Though the interviews were audio recorded, only Roberts' report was turned over to the defense. According to Roberts' report, DeMoss and Burnett were interviewed separately. After being advised of their Miranda rights and the purpose of the interview, DeMoss said he couldn't remember the exact date, but he believed Kohberger had been placed in their pod a few days after New Year's. Now, I will say that there was one of a recording of an inmate on a bus saying some stuff about Kohberger, and then Payne following up with that guy. And I tried to get that information and I was denied. So I can try to go in and get the audio of this. We'll see what they do, but they denied me that and the Winco guys and like a couple other things that really made no sense. But we can only try, you know, we can try. It says, after arriving at the pod, Kohberger immediately sat down and watched the news about his arrest, watching multiple channels that were covering the story. And he said, wow, I'm on every channel. Now, some people can take that like a conceited way, or you can be like, oh my freaking God, I'm on every damn channel. Like everyone is seeing my face. Everyone is hearing this shit that's not true about me. I'm on every freaking channel. That's how I would have been saying it. And there's nothing that seems like gloaty. Because if he was like gloating about being on TV, oh my God, I'm on every channel, I feel like there would be more conceited, gloaty type comments coming from him that other people you would hear. And that doesn't seem to be the case. That doesn't seem to be the case. Actually, I think one of these guys say he seemed normal but quiet. According to Robert's report, DeMoss described Kohberger as quiet and awkward, highly intelligent, analytical, always trying to figure out what you were doing, but didn't know common knowledge things, i.e. the difference between muscle cars. So not street smart, but brain, book smart. Right here, look right here. A pretty normal guy who didn't talk very much and never discussed the case. Pretty normal guy, just quiet. Kohberger would use 3 standard-sized bars of soap per week due to his hour-long showers and excessive hand washing. Now, as far as I understood, I thought that your showers were like quick in jail. So you get to sit there for an hour. I don't know if that's true. I've never been to jail. And I only know maybe like 2 people that have actually been to jail. And only one person that's been to prison. And that person, when they were in prison, said that their showers had to be like hella quick. Not just for like timing reasons because of what they give you, but you also just don't want to be in there for very long. So is it different in like a county jail? Can you take an hour-long shower? Like that just doesn't seem You know, this just doesn't seem real. I highly doubt that. But we do know that he is washing the ever-loving shit out of his hands to the point to where they're basically tomatoes. And we saw it in the camera little piece that got leaked where the guy never got in trouble. His hands are bright ass red. And even when it comes to the photos that we got from 1/5/23 when he got here from Pennsylvania, his hands are red as shit. He apparently just had a hand thing, OCD, which is something that we've, come to know as a thing for some years now. But 3 bars of soap, you know how much hand washing that is? Talk about chapped skin. Talk about burning. See, when I said Donna Summers, I knew she was a singer, but what is the lady's name? We did a video about it when it happened because we were trying to figure out what was going on. Kohberger, Pennsylvania, grand jury case. Dana Smithers. Oh my God, Donna Summers. Well, that wasn't even in my lifetime. I don't even know how I even know that name. My bad, guys. But it was Dana Smithers. Because she disappeared from Monroe County at the end of May of 2022, which was I guess right before he moved. So I guess they were trying to see if maybe he had something to do with it. Like if he did something right before he left, before then planning something over in Washington. And she was found 30 minutes away from his family's house in Albrightsville. But there was no evidence whatsoever, and he apparently had a good alibi. Now, we never got the information that was given for whatever his alibi was for that case, even though it's irrelevant. I would still like to know, because what if it's the same as in this one? What if it's the same? What if it's because he was off somewhere, hiking somewhere, way far away from where she was, and that's an alibi that Pennsylvania is going to use while Idaho is acting like assholes about it? I want to know, for that reason and that reason alone, what his alibi was for Pennsylvania. Because I just, some petty ass shit has been going on in this case. DeMoss, who was housed with Kohberger for about 3 weeks, said Kohberger's favorite movie was American Psycho with Christian Bale. A lot of people like that movie. I'm honestly not a fan of the movie or the person. I think I've maybe watched 20 minutes of that movie. A lot of people like it. It's a cult classic. And it's also interesting it's even being mentioned because in that 5 filters activated YouTube spreadsheet of the stuff that he was watching, American Psycho pieces were on there too. But again, lots of people like that movie. It's so popular that Hot Topic and Spencer's and all kinds of places sell merch from that movie, even to this day. And it's old as shit. And people are still crazy about that damn movie. So then this is the second half of the report. At 1:28 p.m., Detective Schwecke and I interviewed Burnett regarding his interaction with Kohberger. What follows is not intended to be an exact transcript of the interview. For further detail, refer to the audio recording. And like I said, I'm going to try to get these. We'll see what they do. After being advised of his Miranda rights, confirming he had not been ordered to talk with us, advised of the purpose of the interview and that the interview would be recorded, Burnett provided the following information. He was housed with Kohberger from early January to February 15th of 2023. Kohberger enjoyed watching the news about his case unless it began talking about his family or friends, at which point he changed the channel immediately. As time continued, Kohberger stopped watching the news related to his case almost completely. Kohberger analyzed everything. He wanted to know why people had preferences on anything. He psychoanalyzes everything. They talked about his case sometimes, but never Kohberger's case. So Kohberger and him would talk about DeMoss's case. No, would talk about Burnett's case, but they would never in turn talk about Kohberger's case. Kohberger spent most of his time in the communication tablet talking with people, typically his sister, who he told to retain an attorney after he had seen her on the news. So that would have been like really early on too, because we know his sisters both lost their jobs because of this crazy shit. Like DeMoss, Bernard told investigators Kohberger washed his hands excessively, using 3 bars of soap per week, showered every day, and wanted new bedding and clothes every day. That's a definite OCD. But multiple people saying, you know, this is actually happening. This isn't like for show. He's doing this for real. Kohberger was very smart, easy to get along with, but was hard to talk to because he talked over him due to Kohberger's vocabulary and topics of conversation. Kohberger also talked about his education a lot. Kohberger loved baseball, with the Yankees being his favorite team. Kohberger also liked to watch court TV and was very interested in the Murdaugh trial. Despite the fact that police often try to develop incriminating information from jailhouse informants, nothing of evidentiary value has ever been disclosed. Go find one case. Go find one case where someone has been arrested and something that they said in a jail call or a letter or on a tablet or to another inmate or something else wasn't found to be able to be used against them in some sort of way. So again, we have now 3.5 years worth of tablet, face communications, video communications, text communications, call logs that are recorded, calls that are recorded, mail coming in and out, emails coming in and out. We have conversations he's having with people all these years later, all the devices that they've gone through, every school email that they've read, every personal email that they've read, every social media post they were able to go through, every personal text message. Nothing. Have you ever in your life ever heard of a case where someone not only is like being charged, but even after they've somehow pled guilty, there's still nothing being discussed? Because something would have happened by now. Somebody would have called somebody and been like, bro, he's over here just talking and talking and talking. He said this crazy shit. Oh, I think he finally slipped up and made a statement. Nope. Nope. And I showed y'all there's people on TikTok whose dudes are apparently in prison, or baby daddies, whoever, are in prison with Kohberger. So when they video chat and video visit or communicate or whatever with their baby mamas, they talk about it. Some people post it on TikTok. I've showed y'all. He's not saying, he's not talking. There's something crazy being said. He's not saying anything in his sleep. I ain't never, ever in my 40 years seen a case where there's literally nothing incriminating they can find about anything. Nothing on devices, nothing on the internet, nothing. Isn't that crazy as shit? Crazy as shit. How many more chapters we got left? Hold on. What did we just do? What is this? 12? 12. Okay. So we've got 13, which is where they bring in Othram, talk about ibuprofen and Dylan's green jacket, which again, you can tell this is so AI, because how many of these stupid chapter titles have we gone through and like nothing in the chapter title is even mentioned in the chapter? Ugh, stupid ass book. The number 14 is dark SUV, loud exhaust, and 12 nanograms per milliliter, which obviously is going to go to the Adderall. And we know that he talks about the dark SUV and the loud exhaust a lot in his interviews. Chris Whitcomb does in his interviews. So that's going to be there. And then Drunk or Not, Death Row, and The New Normal will be the last chapter. Chapter 15. Yeah. So I think I am going to move a couple of things around. I will say I have the plan for tomorrow that I'm not going to change is I planned on, unless something dramatic happens, like an unsealed document, something happens, I have the entire panel little interview thing that the Goncalveses did at CrimeCon, and I've gone in and put a filter on it and did all the things I needed to do in order for me to be able to play it and react to it without them giving me any issues, hopefully. We'll see how they do. I talk shit like every 5 seconds, so I don't think they can touch me. But I have that entire thing, and I plan on going live tomorrow night for us to watch that. He says some crazy shit. She says some real stupid shit, and he just says some real crazy shit. And we need to watch it. We need to watch it. So I plan on doing that tomorrow. But I think I'm going to switch up a couple other things so that we can hopefully get chapter 15 done by Sunday. That way Tuesday, probably Tuesday morning-ish or whatever our first live, or maybe we'll do it our second live. I don't know yet. But one of our lives on Tuesday will be Syray. So I guess I'm going to I don't want to keep posting what I want to do like publicly, because I have noticed that I'll talk about something that I want to do, and then the next day or before I've had the chance to do it, somebody else is doing it. So I'm just going to start posting like my bulletin board, I guess, like in my members only community posts, so that they can kind of see like what my plans are. So don't be surprised if y'all get another picture either tonight or tomorrow where some of the dates for some of the things have been like moved around. Because I really want to get this book done. And what is it? We have all of 13, all of 14. So we have three more lives left before we're finished with this one. And like I said, I'm going to go back in before I send this one off, and I'm going to take pictures of the pages so that it looks like the one that we just had, where it's like my notes up there, and then I'll be able to put that up for you guys. This is a big book. This thing is heavy. Like, you could probably knock somebody the hell out with this thing, even though it's a soft cover. So big. But it is like nice, big handwriting. See that? Handwriting. Large font. Large font. This one's going to be hella written in everywhere. Like, I don't think I'm going to give this one away because it's like ginormous, but I will probably change my mind because I don't really want to keep all this stuff. Like, we talk about it, I will probably give this away. I won't have a secondary copy like I will from the other one, but we probably will give this away. Plus, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to photocopy it. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Okay. That's it. So we'll get this book done this week so we can start that one the next week on top of trying to do all the other things. But we're just going to do it. We're just going to do it. We're just going to do it. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. Thank you so much for coming in here for Chapter 12's review. I cannot believe he instantly is just taking off with the mainstream bullshit for 1129. I don't understand how they're honestly getting away with constantly doing that, with Chief Jenkins himself coming out and telling us they never turned that tip in. It never got sent to the police. But we even saw, and you guys remember, we said something about this, and we'll eventually come back around and look at all of the Pullman stuff all over again because there's so much we haven't seen and we need to do it in sections anyway. But remember, there was a letter that Chief Jenkins literally like wrote out an email and sent across to everybody in the department when the PCA released to the public because Tiango and whatever his name was in there. And he was like, oh my God, attaboys. Oh my God, kudos. Oh my God, we're the best. Bullshit. And I'm like, you said y'all never even turned that tip in. You did nothing. You like him seeing Kohberger's car in the system and then seeing a car in the parking lot did literally nothing. You didn't even turn the tip in. Like you did nothing. You did nothing. Why are we attaboying ourselves? You did nothing. I'm just so tired of it. That's why press conferences get on my nerves, because it's 45 minutes of who's asked can I kiss the most. Like I'm just so tired of it. I'm so tired of it. It's so annoying. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here. Thank you again for the gifted memberships, you guys. That was very sweet. Thank you for joining Welcome in. Thank you for joining and thank you for being here. And again, happy birthday to you and to Salty. Happy birthday. I hope everything goes better. Y'all get some sleep. Y'all get some sleep. You guys will see me tomorrow for sure. Thank you again for being in here. I very much appreciate you guys. See y'all. If you like the way that I present this information and give my opinion, please don't forget to leave a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already. And please don't forget to make sure that the notification bell is set to all so you don't miss any of my rants, reviews, reactions, updates, or deep dives.